There is not enough fresh water in the world. No matter if we use it for drinking, food production, or cleanliness, access to safe water is a fundamental human right and a necessity for our health. However, it is a limited resource. Only 3% of the water on Earth is fresh water, and the majority of that is found underground or in frozen glaciers and ice caps. Our freshwater supply shrinks, and health risks increase as the frequency of extreme weather events and higher temperatures increase due to climate change. It is just one of several causes for the global freshwater shortage. Freshwater is under increasing pressure due to our growing population's increased need for food and energy, as well as heavy use in industry and agriculture. How is water scarcity even conceivable? Since water covers 70% of the Earth's surface and its volume is constant, 1,386,000,000 cubic kilometers. Well, 97.5% of it is seawater that cannot be consumed by people. Additionally, the demand on the limited supply of fresh water is increasing as a result of rising temperatures and population growth. Between 2000 and 2050, there will be an estimated 55% increase in the global demand for water. Agriculture, which uses 70% of the world's fresh water, is a major driver of demand, and to meet the rising demand by 2035, food production must increase by 69%. It is also anticipated that water withdrawal for energy, which is required to cool power plants, will rise by more than 20%. In other words, there will be numerous demands on freshwater reserves in the near future. Currently, many of the world's freshwater sources are being depleted more quickly than they are being refilled, according to a study led by NASA. 21 out of the 37 major aquifers, or underground reservoirs filled with gravel and sand in the world, are retreating, ranging from those in India and China to those in the United States and France. India's Ganges Basin is thinning out by an estimated 6.31 centimeters a year as a result of population growth and irrigation needs. Senior water scientist at NASA J. Famiglietti has issued a warning that the water table is lowering all around the world. Water, he says, is not a limitless resource. Mexico City, which was constructed on the remains of an old lake, is currently sinking 9 inches a year in some sections. Streets that were formerly horizontal are now bouncy like BMX courses. The director of Mexico City's water system, Ramon Aguirre Daz, has attributed the city's water woes to greater population growth and the shifts in weather exacerbated by climate change. The shift in climate, he says, can bring heavier, more intense rains, which, while welcome, can bring more floods but also more longer droughts. In California, much of the same is taking place. The state saw its worst drought in 1,200 years, from 2011 to 2016. A total of 16 million acre-feet of its primary aquifers receded each year, drying up about 1,900 wells. Then, as a result of climate change, there was 228% more rain on the first 3 months of 2017 than usual, according to scientists. In just 2 months, Lake Oroville in the state's north went from being at 41% of capacity to 101%, overtaxing the dams and requiring the evacuation of 188,000 locals. However, even when a drought ends as dramatically as it did in California, the aquifers below don't immediately fill up. It would require 4 years of rainfall in California that is above average, according to NASA's Famiglietti. Even after that, quote, California will continue to lose water because the state just does not have enough water to do all the things that it wants to do. Beyond the possibility that our freshwater supply could soon be severely limited, what else could all of this mean? Some people believe that conflicts will arise as global water shortages worsen. Many people have used the Syrian civil war as an example, including Dr. Peter Engelke, senior fellow at the Washington-based think tank Atlantic Council. Quote, Syria has one of the worst droughts in recorded history between 2007 and 2010, which had the consequence of destroying rural communities and driving hundreds of thousands into the country's cities where they were marginalized, he claims. A connection between Boko Haram and Al-Shabaab is also suggested by Anders Berntel, Executive Director of 2030 Water Resources Group, a multi-sector water resources organization. When young people, quote, realize that as a result of the lack of natural resources, degraded land, and lack of water, there are no livelihood opportunities. They have no hope for the future. They can become radicalized more easily. All of which might indicate a gloomy future, but some countries have devised clever solutions to address their water shortages. Furthermore, they are excellent examples from which the rest of the world can benefit. For instance, Australia overcame its millennium drought from 1997 to 2009 by swiftly putting policies in place that cut commercial and residential water use in half. Australia is the benchmark, explains Richard Damania, former professor at the University of Adelaide and current global head economist for the World Bank's water practice. The trick was giving water a value and turning it into a tradable good. Let's say I had water, but all I was growing was wheat. When you cultivate grapes or something else more valuable than wheat, but without water, he clarifies, then rather than using it to irrigate my lower value crop, I may sell it to you. In this manner, Australia fared remarkably well during the millennium drought. Israel is another gold standard as it sees the availability of water as a matter of national security. The Shafdan wastewater treatment facility near Tel Aviv provides over 140 million cubic meters of water annually for agricultural use, covering 50,000 acres of irrigated land. This water is recycled from effluent water, including home sewage. Effluent water now meets more than 40% of Israel's agricultural water needs. An anaerobic digestion facility receives the sewage sludge as well and uses the methane it produces as fuel to generate renewable energy. Anders Berntel, Executive Director of the 2030 Water Resources Group, a multi-sector water resources group, claims that the fact that Israel, a country located in a desert, is able to accomplish this shows that with the appropriate technology, financial resources, and political will, anything is possible. Even more astounding, the next best performer, Spain, recycles just 19% of the water that flows down the drain compared to Israel's water treatment systems, which collect 86% of it. Israel also leads the world in desalination, the process of turning seawater into drinkable water. Israel now gets more than half of its drinking water through desalination. So, is desalination the answer to the world's freshwater crisis? It's doubtful, because the cost is often 5 to 7 times higher than the current conventional means of pumping water out of the ground. There must be something done with the salt, and the energy impact is enormous. You can see the damage being done to marine ecosystems if you look at aerial photos off the coasts of Kuwait and Dubai, two places that heavily rely on desalination. Given the financial and environmental drawbacks, it's just a boutique option for extremely rich regions. Rainwater capture offers an easier and less expensive approach. It's a dated notion whose moment may have arrived. Caesar Justinian constructed the Basilica Cistern beneath Istanbul, Turkey back in the 6th century AD and has a capacity of 80,000 cubic meters. Today, several towns are imitating it after 1.5 millennia. 4 million liters of partially treated water can be kept in Melbourne's biggest stormwater collection tank. Currently, authorities in Kerala, India, Bermuda, and the US Virgin Islands require rainwater harvesting in all new construction, while Singapore uses rainwater capture to supply up to 30% of its water demands. The rain is being captured even in Manchester, England, where it typically rains just 12 days per month. In many places around the world, agricultural irrigation techniques are very inefficient. We can address this inefficiency through a combination of policy directives and technological innovation. There are ways we may change to become cultures that use less water, either by maximizing the effectiveness of every drop of water utilized, or perhaps by eliminating water-intensive usage completely. While there are several reasons why there is a shortage of water, there are also numerous solutions. The demand on water supplies can be lessened with the support of environmental laws aimed at decreasing global warming and employing cleaner energies. The most recent innovations in water preservation technology can help developing nations. Greater public knowledge is a key component in resolving the water shortage crisis. We may lessen water waste by enacting laws requiring water conservation and prohibiting plastic bottles, for example. It takes 1.85 gallons of water to manufacture the plastic for the bottle in the average commercial bottle of water. Whichever effective model of conserving fresh water we come up with, we will need a plan of action that has widespread implementation and adoption, and we will need it sooner rather than later.